Alright guys, so one thing you're going to notice this video is the audio is kind of off from the pace of the video. I actually had to go in and re-edit all of the audio that I had previously recorded because of Elgato. When I recorded, I did not pay attention to how it sounded. I took my headphones off. I just kind of wanted to have them off and do a straight video. It ended up turning out really bad, and I'll play a sample right here. So let's jump in, let's look at the team one more time. Let's see who's performing, who's not, and who needs to be moved or whatever. As you can hear, that sounded god-awful. So I went in, I did it in segments, so I kind of scripted it out in a notepad, and I just recorded each piece that I felt like it needed to be in Audacity, and I kind of actually redid it so it sounds a lot better. That's why I sounded really more upbeat in this video compared to the last one. Last one I just kind of wanted to see how it was going to turn out. I hated the way I talked in that video. It was terrible. So this video and the future ones are going to end up being like this, where I go in Audacity, I do segments, and I just script it out to how I watch it instead of doing it live, which kind of sucks, but hey, I'm not a very good person doing it live. I'm not very good at communicating, which is why I do Siege videos, so I don't have to actually sit here and talk, because I hate talking. So that's why this video ended up turning out differently compared to the other one. So with that being said, it's time to clock in and begin episode 2 of Making of a Dynasty. Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode of Making of a Dynasty. When we ended off on the last episode, we were looking into making some moves, so let's jump right in and view the team one more time. Now we're able to see who's hot and who's not, and who needs to move before the trade deadline rolls along. Alright, so on the first line we have Alex Ovechkin with 22 goals, 14 assists, Nick Backstrom with 6 goals, 31 assists, and TJ Oshie with 9 goals, 21 assists. I would like to see Oshie score some more, however his 30 points makes me believe he will be just fine. Alright, so the plan starting right now is to beef up our second line. The depth is looking pretty good, however we need a strong top 6 core if we want a chance to win the cup. Burakovsky is listed with a role of second line forward, however at an 82 overall, I think we can find someone to help bring his skill and potential up a ton. That ends up the offense. Let's take a look over at our defensive core. We have Orlov, Niskanen, Dupree, Manson, Boschman, and Montour. The defense is looking mighty fine and Dynasty caliber. Over time, the Young Guns will take over and have the potential to lead this team to great endings. And in the crease, we have the GOAT Braden Holtby with Philip Grubauer backing him up. The goaltender situation is going to stay how it is for this season, as it's unnecessary to move anyone. I am very pleased with our goaltending situation. So far, I like the way our goaltenders and defense look. Our forward core, however, is going to have to change, whether it's this season or in the upcoming seasons. So here we are at the beginning of January. We hold a record of 22, 15, and 3. Not bad to start, but it's not the greatest either. It could be worse, but overall, I am very happy with the starting record. Alright, so you guys don't have to sit through the boring part. I'm going to go find some people to bring into this dynasty, and I'll be right back. Alright, so after being unsuccessful in several trades, I've decided to leave the team the way it is. If needed, I can always change the lines around and call up guys from the AHL. To recap, I was looking at Cogliano, Landeskog, Panarin, Nyquist, Dadonov, and Vanek. They wanted some crazy return value that I just don't have. So with that, let's see how this month goes. Alright, to start the month of January, we snag a 3-2 win over Carolina in their arena. Then we come home and beat the Blues. Shootout victory over Vancouver. Back-to-back losses to Carolina. Pretty decent start so far. Shutout victory in New Jersey and home against Montreal. Back-to-back shutouts are always a blessing. Then we get shutout against Philly. 5-3 win over Florida. 3-2 win over Philly. Redemption, baby. Alright, to recap January, that was a great month. We only lost 3 games and now hold a record of 29, 16, and 3. Record for January was 7-3-0. Overall, a fantastic month for the team. Alright, so let's jump over and take a look at the team scoring. We have Ovechkin sitting on 30 goals, 21 assists, good for 51 points. Backstrom is at 11 goals, 40 assists, good for 51 points. And Oshie is sitting with 11 goals, 30 assists for 41 points. Second line, we have Vrana at 12 goals and 12 assists, Kuznetsov at 2 goals, 13 assists, Burakovsky at 14 goals, 24 assists. Second line isn't doing all that bad, however you'd like to see a few more points, as the first line has a combined 143, while our second line has a combined 77. Burakovsky is actually proving me wrong as well, and is performing excellent for his role. Alright, so let's hop on over to the goalies. Here we see Holtby, he's got some excellent stats so far. Grubauer did not play a single game in January. That's very interesting. Holtby was the guy holding down the fort for the month of January. Alright, so I'm going to sim up to the trade deadline, and I will see you guys there. So here we are at the beginning of March. No trades came in, so I just decided to sim through the rest of February and not bother you guys with that. A couple of bad losses for the month, but hey, you win some, you lose some, and we're still sporting a great record. So here we are in March. I'm just going to sim up to the 15th and see where we stand as we approach the end of the season. So to start off March, we lose on home ice to Toronto. We get a 5-0 win over Anaheim, a 3-0 win over Los Angeles, a 3-1 win over San Jose, a 2-1 victory over Winnipeg. Alright, so with how good March is going so far, I think I'm just going to leave the team how it is, and we are going to sim up to the ending of March to see how we do. Alright, so we get back-to-back wins over New York. Moving into Philly, we take a 5-3 win, 4-3 win over Dallas, a 3-2 in Detroit, a 5-3 loss in Montreal, a 3-2 win in New York, a 4-3 loss home against New York, and a 4-2 win against Carolina. So overall, we went on a tear that month. That was a really good month for the Washington Capitals. So with all the momentum we have now, let's just sim right through the ending of the season to see how we do. So we get a 7-2 loss against Pittsburgh, 2-1 loss against St. Louis, a 5-1 loss against Nashville, and a 4-3 loss against New Jersey. So not a great ending of the season, but hey, we still have a fantastic record, and we made the playoffs. So with the season being over, let's take a look at the standings for the league. We can also see that Ovechkin ended up leading the team with 89 points this season. So here we see Pittsburgh beat us by 3 points, and they actually ended up clinching the division. They had a lot more overtime losses than we did, which means they had a lot more overtime games than we did. So overall, I think we had the better team than they did. They just got the extra points that we didn't. I'm shocked to see Carolina in a playoff spot. Not only are they in a playoff spot, but they were in 3rd place in the division, finishing above Columbus, and Philadelphia, New York Rangers, New York Islanders, New Jersey Devils did not make the playoffs this year. In the Atlantic Division, we see Tampa Bay actually ended up clinching the conference with 107 points. They had an excellent season. Buffalo Sabres in 2nd place with 104 points, so they actually beat us by a point. I think they beat us by a point. Toronto is up there with 102 points, and the Florida Panthers are up there with 96. So, weird playoffs. The Senators and Canadiens didn't make it. The Bruins and Red Wings were also out. So, and not only were the Bruins out, they were in last place, so what a weird set of playoffs so far. Central Division, the Blackhawks clinched the conference with 110 points. I think that's the highest points in the league, because I think Tampa Bay only had 107, so they had a fantastic season, even better than Tampa Bay. St. Louis and Winnipeg are in the playoffs, which means in the Pacific Division, they had an extra team, and the Wild must have just missed a few points to make the playoffs. So Minnesota, Nashville, Colorado, and Dallas were all out of a playoff spot this year. And in the Pacific Division, you see LA clinch the division with 102 points. Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary, and San Jose all made the playoffs. So Minnesota missing the playoffs by 2 points. And then Anaheim, Arizona, and the Vegas Golden Knights were all out. Arizona actually did better than the Golden Knights with 79 points, so 35 and 38. So not too bad. Not as bad as they have been. So maybe next year we'll see them in the playoffs with us. Then here you can see we're taking a look at the league. We ended up finishing 8th place in the entire league, below LA, St. Louis, Toronto, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and Tampa Bay and the Blackhawks. I find it weird that we finished below Buffalo Sabres because Buffalo was not very good. Oh, and my bad. It was 3 points. I thought we had 103 for some reason. I must have been thinking of another team. So there you have it. Alright guys, I'm going to call it a video here so we can save the good stuff for the next video. If you enjoyed episode 2 of Making of a Dynasty, smash that like button. Let's see if I can get 5 likes this video. I want your take on how this is going so far to see what we can do to improve our team for the next season and see what we can do to make it through the playoffs. Next video, we are going to sim through the playoffs. We're going to view the stats for the season and the stat lines for the playoffs. We're going to sign free agents and do all that other good stuff in the offseason. Then we're going to end that video off of simming through the preseason up to the first game, and then we're going to start another video for that season. So for now guys, it's time for me to clock out.